Yao Sun Je Wo Sanye La Yao Sun Je Wo Che La Yao Sun Je Wo Yen De La Yao Sun Je Wo Nama La Yao Sun Je Wo Sanye La Yao Sun Je Wo Che La Yao Sun Je Wo Yen Den La Yao Sun Je Wo Nama La Yao Sun Je Wo Sanye La Yao Sun Je Wo Che La Yao Sun Je Wo Yen Den La Yao Sun Je Wo Sanye Che Dong So Je Cho Nam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Yao Sun Je Da Ye Jen So Je Ve So Nam Ji Lo La Ben Je San Ye Ru Bar Sho San Ye Che Da So Je Cho Nam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Yao Sun Je Da Ye Jen So Je Ve So Nam Yu Lo La Pen Je San Ye Ru Bar Sho San Ye Je Dan So Je Cho Nam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Yao Sun Je Da Ye Jen So Je Ve So Nam Ye Ro La Pen Je San Ye Ru Bar Sho Ya Sem Je Tam Je De Wa De Ve Je Dan Den Bar Je Ju Sem Je Tam Je Du Ma Je Je Dan Da War Je Ju Sem Je Tam Je Du Ma Me Be De Wa Dan Men Da War Je Ju Sem Je Tam Je Ye Ran Cha Dan Yi Dan Da Ayo La De War Je Ra Je Sem Je Tam Je De Wa De Ve Je Dan Dan Bar Je Ji Sem Je Tam Je Tu Ma Dan Du Ma Je Je Dan Da War Je Ji Sem Je Tam Je Du Ma Me Be De Wa Dan Men Da War Je Ji Sem Je Tam Yi Ran Cha Dan Ni Dan Ro Vi Dan Yo La De War Je Ra Je O Sa Je Bo Je Xu Shang Me Do Zheng Re Ro Le Je Nie De Jian Ban De San Ye Sheng De Me De Bo Wa Yin Lo Bo Nam Da Shen La Jo Bar Sho Yi Dan Wu Ra Na Men Da La Pa Me Ya Da Ya Me I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings about being
separate from joyful. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, fear bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and operate. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Idam Guru
meditation. First. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
That they don't need some other.
that's all. The oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's 네, 단지 스카이프니 디치디와. 저런 어디까지 하시는 되게. 네. 예. 야, 야.
그거는 nomado 차이라. 그래서 당연히 대랑안에 접동지나 단들이 지리 리서치 종진이 탑교로 되게 좀 더 하면 소소 단데 근데 뒤주 총월이나 그때는 아주 당보네 지금 지도 무슨 잡아게 매치 다리 든 돈이지 좀 이제 로마 공진 정으로 지금 간다 또 나도 뒤쳤을 로마도 나도 좀 보여주네 그래서 가능할 때 있잖아요. 로마도 지금 아주 정말 로마도 다리 상에 저 정말 그런 것들라 다리 좀 강화 싸워지네 뒤냠때 이제 로마 공진에 로미 틀지네 어제 신기라는 ችን 천적대 다른 것 방금에 받치는 소소한 있는 거 잡니 로를 심지 탐 지금 다 그런 인연들 정도에서 로한 담는 디가나 비친 내동 돈 때때 나이부터 소지니 되게 지금 있다 점진이 타로 지금 좀 데리고 없이 라카마 좀 와서 데리고 오면 로마 컨트 다리 사실 동도 자주 벌 때 너희지 자 이거는 근데 그지마도 요 다른 데서 써 한국서 주동석 이제 주동석 통역서 수도냠대네 검도 다리 로마곰 진짜 로마곰 그러면 다리 남편이 어제 지금 심지 탐지기 등에 동 나도 단다 무슨 동성애 냈대요 그래요
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm here online. So your participation in this particular period of time and in our actually the history of mankind and is highly appreciated and is of very important. And we all know that this is a time is a kind of very uncertain, and it takes a lot of attention, and kind of makes our heart heavy. So in spite of this unpleasant reality, so we do have to find a way to cope with this current trouble. And among all the different ways, and including scientific and spiritual ways, and here I would like to offer you what I have learned and from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In fact, from the very beginning of this virus, and His Holiness Dalai Lama recommends and all the practitioners to recite the mantras of Tara. So the Tara is Om Tari Du Dari Dori Soha, and because His Holiness Dalai Lama recommended, and this is the way, this is the antidote to cope with the current the spreading of the disease, and also help others, protect ourselves, protect others. So therefore, I'm going to encourage you today in the first 15 minutes to practice meditation. And in this 15 minutes meditation session, I would like to ask each of you reciting Om Tari Du Dari Dori Soha, the heart mantra of Tara. And while you are reciting the mantra, and let's recite it for over 1,000 times, and then you are meditating in the sphere of ultimate reality, and so you transformed into the state of ultimate reality, and then from there you envision the vivid appearance of Tara, and then from her body eliminates the light, and the light ray, and from her body, and then through this light ray, and all the sufferings and the disease, such as is the cause of the suffering in this particular moment, being purified, and so this purification and the outcome of the purification practice is not only affect you, makes you feel, be able to fully protected and free from the sufferings and the causes of suffering of this virus. At the same time, also the person next to you, around you, and your families and neighborhood, and the community, and the entire nation, and the states, and then all the world, the entire universe. So, and yes, so think of this process of meditative contemplation, and go through the process, and while you are focused on the recitation of the Tara.
Oh yeah. 어떻게 되네? 적당하네. 리 소소 대사 다랑니 진에 생각니 다링 확다 마치라 진에 센트 다링 확달라 던 제주도 미클라섬 동기다 그미 야로들라 지금 디지털 정라 그런 걸 같이 저때 클라섬 동기나 안에 때지 마질라 잡아마야 진에 다르다 손다르서 어떻게 가지고 공부가 있지라.
And so regardless your physical, and while you are engaging in the practice of this meditation of Tara mantra recitation, remember that so first of all you have to organize your bodily position and very well, And in other words, so make sure in the your so you sit in the meditative posture, and so your body is sit straight, and you're fully concentrated, and fully in place and yourself. And then and take a look the pictures of Arya Tara and the image and right and to my right, and take a look, or if you have images your own, take the images of Arya Tara, and then and so imagine of this very image itself, and so the vivid appearance of the glorious appearance of Aryatara, and then focus on that image, and then recite the mantra.
Jamde de mala molo mala chaza lo chaza doma dare bamo chene geje do da bamo do da ra ye je gon se ma do re do na tham je de ma so ye je la ra do omo dare du re so dare du re so dare du so dare du re so dare du re so
Oh, yeah. First of all, if you have the mala and the prayer beat, and please join me. We're going to recite one full mantra, and that's 108 times. And then we're going to recite the mantra silently. First of all, utter out and join me, and then we do individually, but silently. We recite in silently.
Om dare do re so ha om dare do re so ha om dare do re so ha om dare do re so om dare do re so ha om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so. 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 Om dare do re so ha dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so ha Om dare do re so Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So Ha. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So. 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 Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So.
Om Dara 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 Om Dara Om Dara 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 Om Dara 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 Om Dara Dara Om Dara 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 Om Dara Om Dara 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 Om Dara Om Dara Om Dara 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 Om Dara Om Dara
Now let's begin our today's actual Dharma discussion.
직든 떠나 세와강 요땅 직동 등을 지니바 대근 더때 대근 더던 절리 종 대신 대고 달라 저식이다 세 가정 오마치 도송도 되니마 조르지니 다 오이도 뭐자 같은 거면 인지 되니마 거리 마치 조르까
그래서 친구라 제디나라 yeah. So just remind you, we are going to continue the text by Nakwa Bell, the mind training like rays of the sun. So we are at the point our essential topic is about all the downfalls or the mistakings of self-cherishment. And so we have talked at this before, but let's go a little a quick review. And if you can, and have a textbook and go to your translation page 47. 야, 뭔가 가르치고 있고, 니 시에서도 대지라 당황, 니 깨지 당황 지금 누구 남았어? 무슨 소리야? Oh yeah. Okay, so here let's start with what Shanti Deva said in the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. Here he says, again, in terms of how serious this self-cherishment, this negative attitude can cause all kinds of miseries. And here, Shantideva clearly point out the misconception of self and being expressed through the self-cherishment. Here he says, however, much torment, fear, and suffering there is in the world, it all arises from the misperception of self. Oh, what trouble this great ghost bring me.
단데 스세고르나 쳇당하니 아주 랑진진진 나라도 샘나가 가르나 나 세데다 베지 똑같단 바로 주긴 샘도 이나 오늘 지는 가 섬도는 아주 다 지고를 나 시기 딱거르다 상태 딱거르다 오늘 지는 나한테 똑같단 바로는 진짜 딱고 요 말때 나한테 똑같단 바로 요 말세 똑같단 바 매일 점증 가서 나한테 자네 매와 말다 나한테 때닌 종화 점식이었어 때닌 종화 점식 진짜 가는 종화 나한테 तादा जुबो के छात्र जोंगा गाला तेंदो जोंगा गा लो जोंगा का जो गेरवा थेबने ते छापर छोर सम तो तेला तेने अने जुबोला निवा छाजी माय वाचने तेने अने नाचाय वाचने तेने जोंगो जोंसोना तेने योआ छेसो तो तादा सीडी छापर जिंगा यो ते मेवा छारो ताती ता मेवा छसोना तेने साने मेवा छारो नो 남식이 넘버 30 차지 긴지가니 요시마 참 좋을지니 때리 영어 개와 잡아는 걸 쏟다 디가 주포 간다스 좀 찾del라 때니 디가 망다 베 디게 와서 때 좀 거. 근데 지금 니와 지금 또 사요 말. 때다 가라도 세비노라 가 세때 똑같다 뭐 좀네 베. 때 지금 뭔지 봤는데 좀네 때라 때니 자동 기능 가 세때 담보 좀네 때라 때니 가 라베 가오 징게 때라 소마 샘는 차바지 소소 샘 덤바요 사도 베카티나 가고 근데 스닝이 때라 뭐파파 semtang ini to do ro ma chona ya semna ma kilio na so so maga sa tin te kati na pha dor na samu chi te chene te la dor mat bi ni wa so khongru chi te chi ne ni kati na semna rewa to to pa ni ke ni long ne ni ding chang do ra che tang chin na ga zo ge wa de le bi ji ko te chwa te ngi chi de ina ga lo zo te shi yo ma ta chi gi me wa sam tong ni da chi gi de ta ko ta te 자당 가도 통비 삼로 홀로 전에 당고 안에가 세 딱비 당점지기 맞다. 근데 지금 네 차벌 쇼나 지금도와 종화티 차님 종데 지금 텔란 종화 농초빙아 데킬 용사한테 가르잖아. 소는 게 초라한테 대종장도 종데 대종분 종화 줄동데 리들라테 종화에 맞는데 지금 셈나 파 버트 삼로 땅에 용수도 대종 같은 삼도 랑아치 보고 많이 봐.
그거 그만 좀 보고你的锅马上。
다 뜻이 좀 고르다.
아구가. 어야. 원래 똑같은 그때 주스니 이제 챗하다.
这这个告诉我你们就下个的呢，这个真的的，都会这样子一把的，希望你这一把都会这样子的呢，你收吧的。你我那的就要通过。哦呀，okay. So when we think about the faults or the downside of the mistaken, you can, if you like, view or attitude with respect to our self-identity, our attitude rather, and towards ourselves. And if we do any exam, we will find that the mistaken is quite obvious, even though in general, because we don't pay attention and we don't ask any questions about our identity or the way how we set up or how we consider something that is our identity. And our general or basic attitude towards ourselves is that ourself is changeless, that is permanent, and ourself is very stable and strong and dependable or reliable. So that's our basic attitude. Because of this attitude, and we tend to identify ourselves as someone, and so then we consider and we are independent and Unitarian and self-sufficient. That's our basic attitude. But the irony is that in the events of such as like the one now, this virus, the spreading of this virus, we got a sense of a fear or concern, worries about something may bad happen to us, meaning that death. So the concerns of dying or and be sort of our life is cannot be no longer in the on earth. That thing concerns us. That the very fear of death shows that we are not permanent, right? And we're not reliable. We are not self-sufficient or independent entity at all, right? If we are, as we generally believe, is a Unitarian, self-sufficient, independent, permanent, and then it doesn't matter what kind of things happen to going on and happen to us. We will not die. Why? Because we are changeless, right? And nothing can change us. But that's not reality, right? So therefore, see this mistaken perception or the misperception of self, it causes the fear, and so that form of I we generally consider or believe, I strongly believe as a Unitarian, independent and prominent. It's not. It does. It's not there, and it does not exist at all. When we say it's not there, does not exist at all, it doesn't mean and there's no self whatsoever, and itself is absolutely like from a nihilistic point of view or nihilism, and as claimed by the nihilistic point of view, that's nothing whatsoever. It's not like that. Our task here is that while we understand this, see this contradictory, one way or generally, and believe that ourselves is reliable, stable, and independent, and prominent, changeless. At the same time, we also got this fear of we'll die and lose and our self identity. While we notice, clearly understand this the exclusive, contradictory viewpoints, while we understand that we recognize we do have such a two completely opposite viewpoint, right? At the same time, and we must understand that I or self is dependent origin, dependent arising or dependent origination, meaning that we are dependent on, we as a person and or someone who is the production of is dependent arising, right? And for example, like our body, we are dependent on our body. Our body, again, is dependent on the 5 proto elements, such as earth, fire, wind, water, right, space, right? And so then our, we call this mind, consciousness. So we as person is the combination of the 5 proto elements and the consciousness. The union of the 5 proto elements and the unification of the 5 proto elements and the consciousness, and which is which produce or which come up with something we call the I or self or person. And so we have to understand this. In the event of such as this disease, the virus, right? You know, the virus occur or we got sick. That is only happens at our physical level. It happens taking place in our physical body, physically, is because our body is constituent of fire, earth, water, and the wind and the space. Once those 5 elements no longer, due to the internal, external conditions, it's no longer in the perfect balance or perfect state of harmonized being, state of being, then is sort of opening up into any kinds of disease or virus, and then we got sick, right? So this happens only at the physical body level, and then so we consider at that point as we are sick or someone who is ill. But then when you look in other aspects of your identity or the elements which constitutes your identity, that is your mind, your consciousness. You know, the consciousness and the mind has a conventional aspect of, right? Has 2 aspects, the conventional aspect and the ultimate aspect. So either way, the consciousness is that by its functionality, functional point of view, it is illuminating, and it is noting. So knowing and illuminating, and so that's the entity of the consciousness. Consciousness or mind doing and functioning and or express itself in such a way. It's illuminating, right? And knowing or noting. And so we are as individual, right? And at the point where this physical entity no longer, the physical aspect of us, right, due to the interruptions and destructions taking place in our physical body, that just like 5 proto elements is completely lost or diminished or severely damaged. And then we will have to deal with the death. Right? But this death only is the physical death, at the physical and at physical level. When you look in the death itself from the consciousness point of view, actually, that's not really substantially something death is going on. Why? Because the consciousness yourself or the mind of you as an illumination and as a knowing or awareness, the entity which is clearly aware of the things and the events and illuminating, then it's going on. So the continuity of this consciousness and mind is to keep going without a cease. Right? So that's what we have to keep in our mind. But our problem is because we fail to understand that is the relationship between our physical aspect, self-identity, and our consciousness itself. So therefore, we are stuck onto or severely entirely attached to our physical sensation, sensational, very sensational and sensory at the sensory level. Due to that, we feel something is pleasant and enjoyable, and then we attach to it, and we try to sustain it and try to make it longer. But at the point when the external and internal conditions are no longer favorable, but doing our favor, and then we experience the frustration and disappointment and confusion. So, in other words, because we fail to identify ourselves, so therefore we mistakenly identify ourselves with only at the sensory level, or physical body level. So therefore, when anything that we find is make us happy, we love it, and then we immediately entirely empower our attachment, sort of authorize our attachment and to do whatever and the attachment wanted to do. And at the same time, whenever we experience the frustration and obstacles, and then we immediately give ourselves and authorize the aversion or the anger and the hatred and to over control and running our life. So this is a serious problem, and because of the fail to understand what is the real self and what is not. And due to this reason, and we always experience two things. One is a hope, another is discursive thoughts. The hope and discursive thoughts, right? And the fear and all kinds of wondering and thought. But one thing we have to always know that when we experience this hope and fear, especially in terms of death, we must accept one reality. The reality is that no matter what, death is certain, and death is something unavoidable, right? And so our self is not permanent, not changeless, it's not a self-sufficient, but it is production of designation or the dependent arising.
당아도 단당아도 이 나타내려 때니 대닌 중에 봐 서우 도토고요. 그비나 아주 남지서거나 샤숙라 강을 촌나 납숙라 아주 가려요서 아주 셈나트는 납숙라 강을 촌나 샤숙라 가려요서 마로 들지 삼당겨요. 근데 마로라니 요차대 송집지야가 쳇대 인전에 아니 잡아도 창지제나데 아주 셈나가지고 소라용고 말이 있는 거는 지나 된종부터 있는 가로 남노 리뷰도 리 지금 나오는 대도다 땅 아주 샤숙 나사지든 그 남농라 펜데 같이 띵이라 캡송네 강은들 쳇도 tela tena ane tenjong buton sao tong tu pior chichila ten tembai bate ta pena ten tembare na kanachi ten jong de kantare zo ane ta tiksum gu sem gu sheli la teni chongwar se gore te kong chongwar ta da nacha de chongsa de ta mi khashi gi nan de zor se gore mi khashi sana de semjing khalasa ne ti nacha la keni chongwar se de ton da kayim mi shina ta ka de sai de titi ka bu sa de nacha chongwa ina ta ko mon span ro chok shi me wa chine sa me ya teni ma yo marwa sa go yo mar de sa chine ni de do chong ge sa ne ko sa te ko to se ni li te pe 지 내부터 기부 용화 채들이 쌓여 있는 데다 나차디 한 거지. 아니 랑 매와도 젠 타마 매와도 강아지 타. 다까지 지금 조이나 종근디 땅도 삼로 근롱 땅네 차시 땅다 베고니 근롱 땅네 소소랑니 송집지와다 젠 매와조 삼로 땅네 조이요. 때 조이자 데 조이나 디 근롱 디 근니랑에 땅고 차시 땅 베고니 에네 제게 겨와다 땅네 제데 겨치네 제데 드롱 소코 땅고 ngarangi songtipcha da je meazu go sam tedi kanong kigar ma ngarangi te zit zodi meazu go nam sam yo ma tetse yena ti sam bangamba jurat ti shil la tene ne zikching o pha de ne lila na chawn mi mangbo kang tedi rangjing nang la hong do te chata kang ta kani chongwa na tangbo de semgi ne kanong kni lang ni chashi ta tedi jikang ne chong chine tene li gang la buseng na bi ngo che tene jikin da tene 정도 안에 리슨 탐질을 이때 탐질을 등을 이용하다 그러나 때는 된종부 때니 종화 센터 때리도 다 하고요. 근데 나로 처음에 지간에 소소랑이 그 리그 차강식이라 강선의 리용도라 강을 양 나진 나 나가서 리 차시 강선나는 나 나가서 나진 잡을랑 그 차강 차시 강식이라 강을 채용수도 나 잡을랑 리용도 강을 채배바 다 하고 토야나 미 처음에 다다게 지금 같은 소자 조알아 소비디 로송 처마지 만지 땅 송집구 쳇 땅 토와나 거리 송집 땅 통해나 자몽도 보면 이때 오면 자몽도 다 부수속이 자몽도 용토 보라 따뜻 맞지 가서 소소소소로 니 송집 지기는 용조 같은 소치경라 로송 땅때 같은 소자데 지마 도코마도 까지네 자고랑 랑니니 정도 로 용도라 강은 차 때리 네스 망고 담다 중국 어때서다 따뜻 삼치점즈라 tellatene ene samlo고 당나 가서 된종부터 오늘 당내 선지 좀 되게 송한테 샘 나오네 셔트와지 된종부터는 된이 종화점때 접당 대응 배지 삼로 근롱라 때네 ene 대충 니와도 소마든지 로고요 소마 다 레디 소함에 받은 된이 종화에 받 동비던데 대리 삼로 따는 오늘 좀 내지 샘나 셔트와지 요르스 주영저 삼동을 편도요 때가 다 레카네 요 말을 몽초 나온 때니 뭐 삼로 좀 거스 범점다
Yeah. Yes, so let's continue to talk a little bit more about the dependent arising as the ultimate reality. Oh, yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the dependent arising and in terms of how to understand the current the world, the disaster and that affected everyone and worldwide. First of all, let's see, like the disease and or the virus, and that's quite scary and cause us to be feared of. In general, our attitude towards other is that we tend to divide or to see others based on where we are, right? And for example, people in the East will think that, oh, you know, anything happened to the West, and then that's the Western problem, and we are in the East. So they sort of take it as no need to be concerned about it. It seems that not being connected or related to them at all. Vice versa, people from the West and in general, may think that I'm talking about there are people who from West who may think that anything happened in the East, they think, oh, that's going on in the East, and it's some kind of far away, and it's not really relevant, and they just pay no attention, and then goes on. But in the subtle level, right, that distance is not there, and that's a sort of a physical, the separation, and it's not as sort of reliable or a kind of a safe and as we think. That's why in the current virus, even though occurred in the East, but because of this, the power of, or due to the nature of a dependent arising, right, it quickly spread and all over the world and on our global, the home and our globe, right, and it's become, it started in the East, right, but it then spread to all over the entire whole globe. We say globe is Earth, right? Like a round, like a ball, right? And but it now is spread all over the place, and in fact, is rather very quickly at this time. So it's become now no longer is just a problem as a region and a particular region in the East or East itself. But it become the spread world, and now it's become the problems of the entire world community. So this clearly indicates the dependent arising, not just a theory, and not just some kind of a spiritual teaching, but rather is an actuality, is a reality, is real. It does its own thing. So I'm not sure, but according to the origin, the narratives about the origin of this disease, virus, some say is because of people who ate bat, animal bat. So therefore, and it caught a virus from the bat, and the bat then spread to that whoever the individual and ate that bat, and then from human, transmitted from human to human, right? And so how this works within the framework, how we explain or understand this within the framework of dependent arising, right? Let's think about this. First of all, and the bat is a wild creature, right? And they live by themselves and remotely somewhere. But with humans, if that's the case, if this disease is originated and started from the bats, and then someone had a very strong attachment, and then had the thought, a desire of that very bat's meat, and see the bat creature as the object of consuming, and therefore the enjoyment of the test. So therefore, he or she or they, right, went to the place where the bats live, and caught them and brought into the market and sold, and the individual who bought it from the market and went home and cooked and then ate. Okay. So meanwhile, something happened to the person who desired the flesh, the meat of the bats, or taste of the bat's meat, and then got affected. See, this is how the dependent arising worked. Right, you had this thought of desire of meat, right, and you follow that desire, that thought, and then you went on, you executed the thought, desire, you take action, and then you went, right, you caught or you purchased, and then you ate. and then how you got severely ill, and then you transmit, pass over the virus to other. That's the one way we can see this, the origin of the disease within the framework or from the dependent arising point of view. And then secondly, another narrative in terms of where this disease originated, and this is, some say, it has come from the P4 research laboratory. And if that's the case, I'm not certain. I'm just repeating what the media, social media says. If that's the case, then we got to see it how it also and it becomes something that can be clearly explained from the dependent arising point of view. And let's say this second narrative is the case, is true, then, and we know that it's not hard to understand that, first of all, as somebody thought to have this serious, this severely and very damaging virus is going to protect and themselves or do something good for them, but do something bad for the people who don't like it, right? They think that, this scientific experiment, right? This innovative sort of biological weaponry sort of activity or the practice could protect them and from some kind of dangers or destructions. They had this desire, right, about themselves, attachment to themselves, and desire to protect themselves from dangers. And then they made it, right? And they had an idea, they practiced this idea, and then finally they created, they made this, the virus itself, right? This poison, very strong, powerful, this virus. But then, whatever happens, right? We don't know the process if that's the case, but somehow it got affected in the outside and that laboratory, and then affected at the local level, right? And impacted the local people, and then the whole nation and the entire world now. So this. If this is the case, I'm just saying that I'm not certain. And so from a dependent arising point of view, you can see that how it works, right? First of all, you had this strong idea about yourself and protect yourself. And then you had an idea about so how to make this biological destructive the virus. And then in the name of protection or scientific research, whatever you do. But the idea, the motivation started, correct? So you had a motivation. Motivation is related to the attachment to individuality and or the safety of that from national point of view or from individual point of view. It's about attachment to us particular entity, and this motivation then manifested into the action level. It become actual action. So the action and again is become produce the actual result, right? And then see the idea and action, and now is the result itself, right? And this is we are completely, and if you look at this into this event from these two perspectives, and we are it only proves that we are completely failed to understand the dependent origination, right? And the dependent origination, again, from another way, simply to understand is that when we feel any part of our body is sick, right? Is not doing well, and then we know and we say, I am not well, right? Because any part of your body, it feels is ill or it's experiencing some kind of disease, and then your entire body is sick or is in the condition of sickness, right? And so see the whole small thing, right? And the whole picture, a particular aspect of one thing, and that entirety, right? How they related, right? A particular part of your body is you can localize that in a very small specific area, but affects your whole state of your bodily being. So your entire body is sick. So that's how independent, dependent arising is functioning, right? How they depend on each other, and macro at the macro level and a micro. So macroism and macrocosm. So this are the examples of dependent origination. And with humans also, the kind of because we fail to understand dependent origination, so we do a lot of a foolish thing. A classical example is we spend billions of dollars into invent and to improve our nuclear warhead, instead of spend the same amount of money and to invent the advanced medical equipment and medicine and scientific research, and to protect ourselves from illness. We do not put an adequate amount of money in this area of the human life, but we put it into the weapon, and then once we had a weapon, right? What happened? So first of all, we invent $1 billion and put it in to creating, making, and maintaining the nuclear warhead. We think that we can protect us, but at the same time, because of this, now you become others also created the same thing, even the greater and then more powerful than yours. So now you are under a severe fear, and you've been been in a very dangerous situation yourself now, just because you had this first, and then the others compete with you, and now nobody are safe, nobody are in a good condition. So this is just my personal opinion, and so I like to share with you. But what I further like to share, my other understanding is that the Buddha's teaching in this particular context is really works very, very well. Because what the Buddha point out is that how the things are events, and we and our physical world is functioning, right, and maintaining, and is originated, and all will lead us to where all this being and can be explained clearly and taught by Buddha through the concepts of dependent arising. So our body is dependent on the 5 elements, as I said, 5 proto elements, right? And then 5 proto elements again. So within it, it depends on something else. So all this is a reality, but we don't understand this, or we not look at the true nature of our life, and or true conditions of the actuality of our life and or the earth itself, or the relationship between earth and us and the earth and others. So therefore, and we created the karma. We had this mistaken understanding, a misperception of ourselves and other and the world. So therefore, we create the karma in the name, and the karma is produce or bring the impact and our thoughts and then action and turned out it become something that affect us. So therefore, yeah, we need to know this. So from a dependent arising point of view, is that it is actually the karma, the law of karma. If you do not create the karma, and then there is no the action, if there's no the negative karma at the mental level, you've been generated or you sort of created, and then you will not have a physical, physically you have no action being taken, and then because the physical action at the physical action level, you not executed anything or you didn't commit to anything, so therefore no any negative result, and you need to face or worried about. So therefore, yes, this is how the law of karma works, and independent upon the dependent origination. So if we do meditation, practice meditation, we need to meditate on this crucial point and make sure we understand it.
Oh yeah, 다시 자연 당진 기도르시 비 묘모나 말랑라 노버 노바나 노머스 노비 ngochi 디양 콘텐츠 데버샤데 다티 건건데시 들어와 다텔라 아니 존지글레 용 테닐레 데트 여러 진짜 다케와 노비 초르 페비 기치고 다키냐라 네오르 네차나 코로르지금 데와칼라게 데자다 아니 여러 땅아로 께땅 지금 아주 섬로 치사네 마땅하데 nga rang chiku sam dong tela tene ne chadang kyang so dan nyora ta kala kala pheblo wor tane yongsa de de kang izna tefte yarang je chada che ba de de jinramo azu semna katina nga sam de ti ga da yarang sam de ti pa chak to gu tele tene le tang le sa tela tene nyomo phar ksum chadang ni ga nyomo ji nyomo ga le sa le ng kyawal ni ta 아주 영어 시대 직접부터 내려다기 코리네들라 코르다wen사다 노비 초르피 기치 거제 아주 노바 용사가 능을 용사가 자와로 직접 용사가 자와로도 강하게 더 나한테 받을게 더 그렇지 랑 진진들 티 더. 그러니까 덕대녀랑 내월 내천이 랑 지원 좀 진진데 같은 게 소소킹 라트다 나바 좀 카트 템에 봐줘 내다wen사 코르 지금 대화 가라요. 근데 코르한테는 직진데 제가 나치게 능은들이 타라다위 요 말한테나텔라 안에 가와키로 한다. 데키크 노든 가와치 강 용어 듣고 말와. 간자 교랑 진진 같은 견날 되어죠. 랑 진진 세대 기타 lokpe tawa chire ra rong che ur ba de zong de tong de de lokta chire de ta de ne ngoi ni li tong ma shi song na rong la dewa gu gu na dewa kang li jong gu yo le jen li jong gu yo ba jen de la ti ko tong ki su chi na so so ba chi na so so rong ye de chi ngo de chi go de ta ma du de shi go ma de da shi jen yo rong chen ji ji no ba ta ma jor sang han ba de bi go ka ni sam bi go ni khong number 콩은 점버시데 콩은 데라 안에 지금 랑진진들라 다다 오더니 그때 지금 뜸고 말이 빼장위 랑지오는 좀 전정데 데 강리 용화 랑지오는 nga 세든지 랑진진 용사데까지 뜸고 말이 빼온 거 좋아래 말이 빼온 거 좋네 말이 빼온 델리 좋네 제 야원도르위 어디 롱버타위 천차 종데 어디 안에 텐덴지 롱버타위 거네 아니 nga 세데 지오지 임바 점용으로 근데 젠세들라 파체소 또 녀미시아 젠세한테 야월돌도 로텐데겠다 손낭찬 데 강르즈나 loktaatris lobortawa랑 지원 좀 진진 종으로 전 야월돌이 타와데 loborta와 쳐요 대사다 오늘은 제 데킬링 가지고 고고요를 능 가지고 고고요 말다 능을 강리 종알 데키 강리 종한테 무엇이었지나 아니 가지고 데키 용사데 잘리 종으로 뜻이다 게도 쳇 삼네 원토 땅 일럭이 자와주비 늦진 샴바 컨대용 드난데 그지 딱고 딩인지지상 된 득진 가르 나 진전 차든 된지지 그랬어 득진은 gewa madrum kene likpa drum kene ge du chit sanne ngonto ina chen ngonto tharwa tang tham chi lam drum go te drum yo mar ni te madwa ning ti son te ma te ni ya thos sa na ngi la tham chi tharwa tang tham chi bi ko bang to te go te thopar se bi so ro chong ge de kar na rang chin zhe kar so kar chu de rang chin zhe ge chadang ga le sa le gong go 용어기 셀룰라 때문에 애는 소소기 겨와래 겨왔다 돈 말이 그런데 지금 코로나데 코르도다 늦지 샴바대요 들한테 어떻게 그 늦지 샴바 가서서 다리 속적인데 네 랑친들이 쓰고 다른 게 내치 정도인데요 랑친들이 쓰고 랑친들도 특성기 겨와 돈이 기위 로또 좀버시피 총근 대응단한테 그렇죠 어떻게 네 command rong chin de command yin tang ga na rong chin ji tiksum ji jaw kene tiksum do chhe na tam gisum ye ki o jang de kirong so tie ga de ne lo gewi lo do psu an ji sham nyang ji shang chi sam la so ba tan zo mewa chen de sherib ji chatam ji mewa jong so de jong ber sen da de tam ji command ya no ji ne rong ge de rong chin ji de re da ko de pan zhe ge rong chin ji de gyun ngin ji yo ra da de rong de ne ji ta chi
Okay. Now let's go on and to continue here. See how the author, the Namgwa Bay, is point out or demonstrated the falsehood or the downfalls of the self-cherishment. Here, the text says, furthermore, since disturbing emotions, chiefly created by seizing onto a misperception of self, bring us harm, they are the actual adversary. We should not maintain relations with this long-term antagonist. The same text says, thus, through long unbroken contact, he is our foe, sole cause of an ever-increasing heap of trouble. When we are certain of this in our hearts, how can we be happy and unafraid in cyclic existence? And then it goes on. Moreover, we can attribute all these harms to our selfish attitude and think of how it slams the door on all benefits and accomplishments. We should we should be aware of it. Likewise, the self-centered attitude is an expression of a stupid ignorance, since this lack of consideration for others is like taking hold of the sharp weapon of wrong views and slaughtering any concern for good and bad deeds. So, right here within us is an evil butcher who cuts off the source of a life of higher status and definite goodness. These selfish thoughts holding up the bag of the three poisons is the chief within us, is the thief within us, right? Is the thief within us who destroy our harvest of virtue. By collecting rotten, worthless things, in the cave of our heart, we have heard within us, and okay, that's it. Yeah, Geshe just read to say this selfish thoughts hold up to the bag of three poison is the thief within us, who destroy our harvest of virtues. So, and today we just read this much. Now let's stop here. And to explain what we just have read, I think is quite self-explanatory. But anyway, the point here is that we have this strong attachment of self, actually is mistaken perception or mistaken perception of self. And since we have this mistaken attached to this misperception of self, and then so we have been doing all kinds of things, which basically is karma. We committed to all kinds of karma. We accumulated the heaps of karmas, and then so that karma affect us. How this karma manifested affect us? One thing, one way is affected and manifested and then affect us is bring the fear to us. Because one way, like at the beginning we talked about, we sort of have this general, random sort of mistaken belief that our self is stable, is firm, something strong and permanent. But when we encountering with anything that's in favor and not doing our favor, is it's a kind of obstacle, then it generates a strong fear within us. So when you look at this fear, the source of the fear, the origin of this fear, you will see this fear is related to this misperception of self or self-cherishment. Here it says selfishness or self-centered attitude and or egocentric I. Right? And this egocentric I, right, is ignore in general, ignore to, and or not let you commit to fully committed to the positive or the virtuous action, right? Won't let you even do it, right? Even though the positive actions, the positive virtuous action is the sources of what you really wanted, that is the happiness, right? It is the source of the desired happiness, but it's egocentric or this selfishness or this the self-centered attitude, which prevents you from doing so. At the same time, this egocentric I or the this selfishness, and also from time to time lead you to experience the sufferings of birth, sufferings of aging, sufferings of illness, and finally the suffering of death. Right. So all this you can contribute to the one that the source, one source that is self-cherishment. By the way, within all the Buddhist philosophical views, this self-cherishment is a mistaken view. Okay, is a wrong view. Okay. So whoever have we say we believe we have a right view, or we know how important the right view is. But remember here, from Buddhist point of view, the self-cherishment, selfishness, or egocentric self, this recognition or understanding of the perspective with respect to who you are, and so which is a wrong view, is mistaken view. And So our task is to remember self-cherishment, egocentric I, and selfishness, and is a wrong view. And so therefore we must do whatever we can to eliminate, to weakening, and eventually to root out this wrong view, this mistaken view. So our focus is our practice is in terms of how to accumulate our virtuous action, virtuous karma, or spiritual practice is that we need to shift our the center of the focus from this mistaken self, a mistaken view of self, a wrong view of self, to the cherishment, love, and concern for others. So we needed to show respect to others and based on understanding, love others based on understanding that if we truly want ourselves to be happy and be very successful and accomplished and living in peace and all kinds of great qualities and a higher quality of a virtuous spiritual life and or the earthly life, the source of the source that leads us to this point is to love others, okay? To care, concern others' well-being. But we have to know that our real challenge is the ignorance or is mistaken view, a mistaken understanding about who we are or who we really are. And we know that because of a mistaken view or the wrong view of who we really are, and from time to time, instead of express our love, concern, and be compassionate and about for others, and we tend to criticize and challenging and competing and even to demonize and insulting and others. So all we're doing, and from Buddhist karma point of view, that we are doing something against ourselves. Why? Because essentially we want to be happy. We do not want to be suffer. But our action and under the influence of this misview or the wrong view, we're doing exactly the opposite thing, meaning that we created the sources, causes of our own happiness due to our mistaken view or the egocentric understanding about self. So anyway, therefore, in this text, and the author say, and we consider that the thief is a bad guy, right, in general, and but this really thief is not outside, is within us, is inside ourselves. The thief is manifested through our egocentric I or mistaken perception of self or selfishness and or the self-cherishment, right? Just like a thief could stealing your thing, so the accumulation of your wealth. Suppose you accumulate the huge amount of wealth at home or elsewhere, and if you run into the situation of somebody who stealing your wealth, whatever you accumulated, and the thief could take away, right? Make you with empty hands. Right? So similarly, the thief of our virtues and wealth and is our the self-centeredness and self-cherishment, because it could steal your what we here call the definite good right? And it could damage your and it could prevent you to achieve the higher life of higher status. So temporarily speaking, or in the short term, this self-cherishment could prevent you disallow you to achieve a life of higher status. In the long run, this self-cherishment could disable you, or prevent you to achieve what we call the definite goodness, which means is a liberation or the perfect enlightenment. So therefore, recognize this, and you can think about the virtue, right? Virtue we know is by profession is kill or taking others' life, right, by force or violently. And similarly, this self-cherishment, and egocentric, and being egocentric and this wrong view and mistaken view, and actually is the virtue of your future well-being, because it kills, right, it slaughters whatever the perfect or positive or desirable futures you wanted to and created and you want to achieve. And this self-cherishment is acting as serve as a butcher, and just like the butchers killed animals by force or violently, and so your own mistaken view of yourself, your self-cherishment, your egocentric I, and is the virtue of your own goodness or the future well-being. So keep this in your mind and remember this, and then do something about it, like we say, by undertaking the practice to eliminating and eventually root out this misview or self-cherishment.
Oh yeah, that one don't be no young ma says or native Yans got to Mashida. Jima Matani Pentoy and the Mambuona, the Matani to Wasira. And then you know that you shared that Jingarang some sort of social shit on Tungalatin Shigure. You nearly know what longer, no Portugal social jeton. Martin and the Jazz some Naya or Tetangas in the Pedri Yons about it. They can cover your market on Chelo. Martin the nga ju lamsung ga so so 좋았다는 nga se de ga yo re kanda chi de ga yo re ni 좋았다는 mi chama ka chang go re ji no lamsung nga de du ni zig zig yo ma ji tang ko la zga ji ma de 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 zig po ko na yo re ji sem de sem ko no zan de so na de lo ni ga ma so de de ni ni samu ship de dang ji ni ni de na ji pan to de zhong ya na so la len dap se ne ta pan to ma zhong na mi se ge da de zhong to la ta de lo da chi ra.
Oh yeah. Well, so let me say this. I feel a little bit kind of challenged and weird because now I feel I am talking to sort of an empty space, since I don't see you and in person, and I don't know where you are, but I'm talking to you, and I don't know how many of you attending today's discussion. And but whatever, and as I said at the beginning, I welcome you, and I thank you for joining me in this the cyberspace and virtual reality, and to exchange or exchange the thoughts and learning something new and something important. Whatever I said today is partially is my own and understanding, and partially is from the knowledge, the skills and which I learned, and I've been through my trainings, and so therefore. So I am sharing here you and share with you, and just let you and for your own sort of some kind of reference, and let you to challenge your understanding and to increasing your understanding. Hopefully, benefits you at some point. So anyway, today's let's do a little short brief summary. So today, our topic, the center of our topic was the mistaking of faults or downside of self-cherishment. So when we really emphasize or make a strong argument about this self-cherishment is wrong, is negative, and is a completely of a destructive thing, and maybe cause somebody is uncomfortable because due to the cultural difference or lack of pre sort of exploration, and in other words, so due to having limited or having not yet been explored to this kind of the different striking concepts, you may think, why you talk so much about the downside or the problems of self-cherishment. What's wrong with the self-cherishment? Why self-love? Right, self-love is a bad thing. Well, I'll leave this question to you and let you challenge yourself, because from Buddhist point of view, right, that I, in general, what we love so much, we cherish so much, is not there. It's a kind of a delusion, right? Why? Because you say, okay, I'm here, then and when you, if you agree, we have time, just question yourself, say, first you make that statement, say, I'm here, I love myself, nothing wrong, okay? Then examine it, where that I is. What is that I you talk about? You really love so much, you think it's important, it's valid, should do it, right? And so try to localize that I, right? And start with your physical body, and whether you any part of your body or anywhere within your that physical structure called a body, and is the I. Is there anything you can name as after I, right? And do a search and search through, or do an investigation and a thorough investigation, see whether you can find the I bodily. Probably, most likely, you will not find that I, and as you claimed, and with your body, or identify anywhere in your body, physical body. Then, if you cannot, and go to the mind, right? See whether it's something that you yourself as a mind. Do the same searching and same critical analysis. See whether I somewhere in located with the mind, or identical, or something that's truly mental, and so see what happened to it, right? And do the search, and then you will reach or draw some kind of conclusion yourself, right? You end up with something, and based on your search, and then try to compare these two notes, right? Of your idea, you understand yourself, the idea of yourself at the beginning of the searching, right? Investigation, and then your understanding of I after you do the investigation or the examination, and so then see whether you can find something which is beneficial. If it helps, right, kind of relief, give you a sense of relief, give you a sense of freedom, a sense of a spiritual understanding, and yes, then so then practice it and improve it and enhance that spiritual realization. If you find it's nothing beneficial and it's not really been useful, helpful, and I apologize, and I waste of your time, and so. But otherwise, yeah, keep thinking, searching, and do your practice.
Oh yeah, tadi tata 能为有的是小东里面的谁的，那我这比有把这个的，当时就站在说你别动啊，这上这个样子过去的，我们怎么做？
Yeah, so yes, so the bottom line is that like Jirinpoche, the Lama Tsongkhapa said, you must focus on the meditation and for this emptiness of self of a person, or the selflessness of a person, and so by remembering or focus on the two essential and philosophical view. That is, make sure and while you are experiencing this, the existence of appearance, right? While you are experiencing the existence of the appearance, and make sure that very vivid sense of appearance, the existence of an appearance doesn't let you fall into the extreme of eternalism. Okay, so your understanding of appearance, right, do not lead you to the eternalism. So remember this point. At the same time, also do remember, make sure that your understanding of emptiness of selflessness, selflessness of a person, okay, your understanding of inherent self does not lead you to the extreme of nihilism or nihilistic point of view. So if you secure yourself from not let yourself fall into these two extremes, then you are on the right track.
Oh ya, that's nga dember bigu ni semtu maje si nga the pechuin si nga shigersen de semtu maje ni na nga nga yoba del to ko yabs ane so so wichi yakko tim do songti ji so nang la yoba de la pa do yoba ti ji ni nga to nga de songti ji go rese ni tengi rewais that
Also, okay. Finally, I have the hope, or I have let's say a personal request, and for all of you online today, here in physically in this place or online, that is, please do not worry. The real self of you that will die. Okay? Do not worry the real self that will die, because it is real, so therefore it will not die. Don't worry. Okay. At the same time, and also, please taking good care of that mere appearance, mere self at the appearance level. A mere self, which is manifested as a mere appearance. And please do take good care of that self, right? The way you're taking care of the self is that follow what the CDC says, what the government, local and central government, and federal government, and the local government says, and the CDC says, and do is so compile and those laws or the rules at this particular time, and make sure you quarantine yourself at home, and since you cannot go outside, so therefore try to stay inside. Yeah. So thank you very much for all and your attention, your time, and I appreciate it. And until the next time, and take a good care of yourself. So thank you and goodbye.
Oh,
zonye kadar yang wa kan shi sa ba lo me ma re ye dan ro wa nam den ya ve wang bo da zhi Dharma som be te ra gong do jang be yang ji zi ve ji song den be re ba gong ca lang ji ye ne do be ya na ye che sho ran ye je je do be lam je sho da ze be ran be ta ge do ve ye je mo ba sa je ya ve ten ba yo re zen ju ten ba re je cho ge ma cha 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 nya ber jur ve cho de nian je chen bo ye ra cho ba ye pen de da de sa war che par sho se je ya ve me jo ten le la do long jo lam che re be jang tar do nan je ye la pa den Yahweh Zeba Rando Jar Dam Zan De Be Don Je Do Che Ga Je Se Je Me Da Me Sera Kondo Yahweh Ngabai Nam Da Lam Dan Yahweh Majurji Ganze De Ba Cho Lai Cho Jo Zo zhen zhu la zong ban di yin du de nan jie da du zhu qi zhang xi jiang zong chong chang zhu rong xi zhong jie ma jie gong du gar zong san jie jie wu lan jie du jie 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 du la jie re se la cha za lo o ma ne be me hong 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 ye wa de nyu du da jie re song wa zhu zhe ne du wa di sa la go bar sho chang ju sim jo ren bo che ma che wa na che wa nye ba me ba ya ku ne gong do be bar sho Carrera we Korea Shingon de Pendang de Wa Male Jungwe ne Jeren Senwa Tenzin Shabe Senje Bado Denjuru Ji Yamba Bao Jidra Jamba Dang Kundo Sangbo Denyang Deda Gunje Juso Dalo Je Yawa Deda Tamje Rabu Ngo Dusun Shabe Yawa Ngo Gangla Chudo Ngaba De Dashin Giwe Sawa De Gonja Sangbo Chuje Rado Ngo Orje De Jungde Temba De Tamje Gugang Zamlu Jen Gongla Deje Chungwe Ne Sanje Temba Dado Jeju Ji Ido Nele Da Junjen Rube Nene Mazo Ba Dado Chungwa
아, 클로가 데모. 이상하죠. 무슨 말 자꾸. 시계도 못 가. 어디서 시계도 못
Ah,
가. 다 그게 데모 째네. 그랬더니 고치 넘는 지. 넣었어. 넣었어. 야, 나 데모 째 넣었어. Okay. How much people left? I don't know.
民主党做的。现在呀。